Hey, good morning, guys. What's going on? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I didn't want to take a lot of your time. I just wanted to talk about something that is really interesting. It has to do with NBC former Today Show host Matt Lauer. And Matt Lauer was recently accused in a book that was released today or yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, by a former colleague. He was accused of sexual assault, which is, we know that's a very serious crime. We know that that's not a laughing matter. We know that that's when it does happen and when there's proof, it's a serious problem. Now, here's what's interesting. I'll give you guys the details on it, and then I'll kind of break it down for you and kind of tell you what concern I have about this. And I'm bringing this up. Normally, I hit black topics, purely black topics, but this is a black topic because the Me Too movement has affected a lot of black men. A lot of black men, we're the first ones to be accused of terrible crimes. We're the first ones to go to jail. In many cases, men are sent to jail without any evidence whatsoever, and I think that's a problem. Quintez Cephas is a good example. Quintez Cephas, it was a wide receiver, star wide receiver at the University of Wisconsin, who was invited to have a threesome with two women, and somehow they ended up accusing him of rape the next day. But fortunately for him, there was video surveillance showing that their claim was not credible, that the texts they were sending weren't consistent with what a victim of sexual assault would say. They were very friendly with him, hugging him, sending him, sending their friends smiley emojis, and and wanting to get together to do things and all this other stuff. So it really, fortunately, it undermined the case, and now he's back on the football field and it's over. But the thing is that he was raped of his future. He was traumatized because he was put in front of the public with a tremendous amount of shame. He was taken off the football field. The University of Wisconsin was trying to put him out of school, and he almost went to jail, and he hadn't done anything wrong. He's now been acquitted, and he's moving on, but you really can't move on entirely when you are, when you go through something like that. An allegation can be just a terrible thing to have to go through with that kind of attack and shame. So NBC's Matt Lauer, who was a guy that was really one of the most respected journalists in the world. He's still probably, I'm sure he's as good as he always was, but public perception kind of matters a lot. And basically, he was fired 2 years ago from NBC. The network stated at the time that he was accused of inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace. Now, the employee that he was accused of inappropriate behavior with, Brooke Nevels, is speaking publicly for the first time. I'm reading here on CNN Business, and Nevels is saying that Lauer raped her. The disturbing account is detailed in Catch and Kill, a book by Ronan Farrell that comes out next Tuesday. Variety magazine published excerpts from Farrell's book, including quotes from Nevels, on Tuesday evening. NBC News responded by saying in the statement, Matt Lauer's conduct was appalling, horrific, and reprehensible. We said at the time, that's why he was fired within 24 hours of us first learning about the complaint. Our hearts break again for our colleague. Now, here's the interesting thing. You fired him 24 hours after getting the complaint, but I think, if the complaint was presented without evidence, I would just kind of wonder, why would you give, I mean, I don't know, tell me yes or no if you agree, but I can't imagine having enough power to be able to go and make a complaint about somebody and accusing them of something and ruining their career without any proof. Like I just, I have enemies like everybody else, and I can't imagine somebody. It would be a mistake to give me enough power to walk into someone's office and say she did this terrible thing to me or he did this terrible thing to me, and then have people act like it's true. I don't know if I'm the only crazy one out here that believes that evidence does matter, but I think that what it does is it not only is unfair and unjust, but it actually undermines the entire I think the purity of the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement started off with people who wanted to find legitimate, who wanted to basically stop legitimate assault. Like just kind of stop that stuff. But now you have people that were just throwing out any allegation against anybody. They find somebody they're mad at. They say, oh yeah, he's an abuser, he's a harasser, he's a predator. And next thing you know, people are reacting to it as if it's true, and then even embracing an even greater danger, more dangerous kind of behavior by basically ostracizing anybody who didn't agree, like bullying anybody who didn't agree with what you're saying and saying, oh, you must be a predator too. You must be a part of rape culture. Terms like rape culture were then invented to say, even if you're not a rapist, we're going to treat you like one. And so I'm going to say this, when I read about Matt Lauer, I'm not going to say Matt Lauer couldn't have done these things. Nobody knows, right? But when you say somebody might be a rapist, that's not the same as saying that I know for a fact that they're a rapist, right? Those are two different, very different things. Everybody might be a rapist. I'm looking at Monique and Cam and Watu and Darnell in the chat right now. All of y'all could be rapists for all I know. Jason could be a rapist. Yvette Anderson could be a rapist. She could be another Cardi B, right? Now, how crazy does that sound for me to say that? It sounds ridiculous, right? Because you're like, whoa, wait, I didn't do nothing. I ain't hurt nobody, right? And it would be wrong for me to say, I think that Yvette Anderson might be a predator and a robber and somebody who rapes people. So I need you to go ahead and fire Yvette from her job and put her in handcuffs and take her to jail so that we can then find out if she maybe is or is not a rapist, right? That would be just kind of ridiculous for me to say that. But that's really what you're doing right now, and people think that that's normal behavior. That's not normal behavior. It's very strange behavior. So to read more about what Lauer said in response to the allegations, he denied it, of course. He said the story Brooke is telling is filled with false details intended only to create the impression that this was an abusive encounter. Nothing could be further from the truth. There was absolutely nothing aggressive about that encounter. Brooke did not do or say anything to object. She certainly did not cry. She was a fully enthusiastic and willing partner. At no time did she behave in a way that made it appear that she was incapable of consent. So, he's coming back, and his word is as good as hers. As far as I'm concerned, unless you were in the room when it happened, you don't know what happened. And here's the other thing too. When you make an accusation like that, what you're saying is that he committed a crime. You're saying that he should be in prison. You're saying that he did something that a rapist would do. At which point, people then have the right to ask you, well, if you were a victim of a sexual assault, why did you not report that to the police immediately? Why did you not call the cops? Why didn't you get on the phone and call 911 and say, oh my God, this man did this terrible thing to me. I need you to come get him right now. Now, what they'll come back and say is, well, I was afraid. He's very powerful. I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I'm sorry, being scared and being afraid does not let you off the hook. You can't make an aggressive accusation and then run back like the timid little victim, right? Because when you make an aggressive accusation that says, I need you all to treat him like a rapist because he raped me, then that means you're moving yourself into a territory where the public then has a right to scrutinize and make sure that you're not persecuting an innocent man for your own personal reasons to settle a vendetta. Men and women, have the right to equality. We agree with that, right? Equality does not just mean that you're equal when it's time to make money or equal when the good things happen. It means you're also equal when the bad things happen, meaning that if women have equal capacity to be productive and solid and good and smart, then they also have equal capacity to be evil and manipulative and sneaky and dirty and liars, right? If men can lie, then we know women can lie. So in order for people to get to the bottom of it, because nobody wants a rapist just running around free, right? In order for people to get to the bottom of it, to make sure you're not attacking an innocent man for your own personal reasons, people have a right to ask that question. So then the other interesting thing to me is, if you were afraid to call the police in private and get an investigation done, why are you suddenly not afraid to quote this to the entire world? You're going out in front of the entire planet with this information now, instead of just going to a cop and telling a police officer, hey, keep my name anonymous. I just have to make sure you guys know this, and I hope you guys will investigate in private so my privacy is not violated. Instead of doing that, you went and you wrote a book or were a part of a book where there's money being made. Somebody's making money. Maybe the person making the accusation isn't making money. I have no idea. But there's money involved, right? There's money involved when you're going after a powerful, wealthy man. Notice that a lot of the Me Too attacks and allegations have a huge financial undertone, where basically the people that are being that they come after tend to be men that have a lot of money. They don't really go after the guy that works at the post office. They're not publicly going after the guy who went bankrupt. They're going after the men that have plenty of money, who will write a big check to make an accusation go away, to make a lawsuit go away, etc. So some would argue that this undermines the movement because it comes off as a money grab. Now, where's the evidence of this? Well, if you actually go back, go read the New York Times. The New York Times actually has a really interesting story about Gloria Allred. I don't know if you guys know Gloria Allred. Gloria Allred and her daughter Lisa Bloom have made millions of dollars representing women who are making accusations against men, and their approach is pretty much an Al Sharpton style shakedown. They will literally say, this woman has an accusation against you. I'm going to bring her on camera. She's going to cry. I'm going to make sure she cries so that the public will feel sorry for her. And of course, they're going to believe that you must be a terrible person because you're a big, powerful man. And that means that you're probably evil. And you're going to write a big check just to make it go away. So what they would do is they would have the person write a check, and then they would also have the victim, the alleged victim, sign an NDA, a non-disclosure form, so that the alleged victim doesn't talk about the accusations anymore. So that then, here's the thing, here's the problem with that. When you have your victims, and Gloria Allred has done this. Gloria Allred has had the alleged victims sign NDAs. Well, people have basically made the legitimate criticism to say, well, if this was all about stopping a rapist from raping people, why would you encourage your victim to sign a non-disclosure agreement so that this person can go on with their lives? Why didn't you press charges? Why did you go to the public before you went to the police? Why did you go for the money before you went after the justice? Why are you having them sign these non-disclosure agreements so that if this person is a predator, we need to get the predator off the street? But instead, you're having them sign an NDA so that this predator can move on and prey on somebody else. They can go and assault another person because you let that person go. So people brought up that criticism, and then here was a smoking gun that really got Lisa Bloom in a lot of trouble. Lisa Bloom went to, or is it Bloom or Bloomfield? I can't remember. I think it's Bloom. Bloom went to Harvey Weinstein, and she wrote a memo to Harvey Weinstein. And basically in this memo, and I'm going to see if I can find this memo real quick. Let me see if I can find Lisa Bloom. Please share this to your page. If you're watching on Facebook, please share this. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell. Let me see. Lisa Bloom memo to Weinstein. Here we go. Let me see if I can find this memo. Let me see if I can. Here we go. She basically talks about the people making the accusations, and she says initiating friendly contact with her through me or another good intermediary. So she said, I'll go make friends to help you get off. She said this to Harvey Weinstein, to help you get, to move on. I'm going to initiate friendly contact with her, and after establishing a relationship, work out a win-win and find out what she wants. So basically, she's saying, I'll help you pay her off. And then she says, start with the Weinstein Foundation, focus on gender equality in film, establish the Weinstein standards, which seek to have 1/3 of all films directed by women, announce you will immediately raise the standards of gender, etc. She said, counter ops online campaign to push back and call her out as a pathological liar. So this says that she believes that a lot of the people she represents are lying. She says that, you should engage in a counter operative where you're going to push and use manipulative tactics, meaning tell your own lies or whatever to push back against her and make her look like a pathological liar. She said a few well-placed articles will go a long way if things blow up for us down the line. If we can place an article for her becoming increasingly unglued so that when someone Googles her, this is what pops up and she is discredited. We have all the facts based on publicly available information. She says threaten them with a lawsuit. And so she kind of gives her this interesting strategy, and she says these women will help you look blameless. She said, I feel equipped to help you against the roses of the world because I have represented so many of them. They start out as impressive, bold women, but the more one presses for evidence, the weaknesses and lies are revealed. So she's saying that a lot of her clients, if you push them for evidence, you're going to reveal the lies. She doesn't seem to have much going on these days except her rapidly escalating identity as a feminist warrior, which seems to be entirely based on her online rants. So what Lisa Bloom basically is saying is that broke women will come along and make a false accusation so they can get paid because they're not relevant anymore, or they need to pay the bills. And if you push them and you challenge them for evidence, then you're gonna break down their whole story. Their whole entire narrative will unravel. This is coming from Lisa Bloom, who is one of the leading feminist attorneys out there, who's the daughter of Gloria Allred, who represents a lot of the individuals that make these claims. And so let's get finally to the point of Matt Lauer. Here's the deal. A lot of the accusations against Lauer, if these things are true, if he really raped somebody and there's evidence, then I take back everything I said, right? I will back up, I'll apologize, all of that. To this point, I've not seen any evidence And we live in a country where you're supposed to have evidence before you accuse people of crimes. You can't just go say whatever you want to say. I think that if you're making an accusation, then the burden of proof is on you to provide proof that this really happened, that you're not just saying these things for money. Here's another thing. If Matt Lauer did not have a lot of money, none of this will be happening. If you take the money out of the equation, the lawyers go away, the alleged victims go away. Matt Lauer was considered one of the biggest sex symbols on all of TV. Women were throwing themselves at him. So it doesn't mean that he's incapable of rape, but it does make you wonder, like, why would he take something if it's being given to him willfully? If also this person, I think that they had a sexual relationship. So when people are having regular sex on a regular basis, and then they say, well, yeah, but that one time he took it. I didn't offer it to him. He took it. Well, it doesn't mean that that can't happen. We know that that occurs. But if there's no evidence, then sorry, but you're going to have to you're just not going to be able to win. And so I'm laying that out there because a lot of black men go through this. And also, this is all about money. And one of the protective strategies for men when it comes to money, if you're a wealthy man, is you probably want to have, consent forms on you. You want to have evidence. Keep your evidence. If you have a sexual relationship with someone, keep as much evidence as possible. She sends you naked pictures. You keep that just in case somebody acts, wants to act like you forced them to do something. And at the end of the day, it's a matter of protecting what you got, because there are people out there. There are, the predators exist, right? We have the predators that will take, sex from another person or whatever, but you've also got predators who are financially raping men on a regular basis on a public forum, and it's easy for them to get away with because people have lost their sense of fairness and their sense of truth and their sense of justice. And it's kind of gotten to the point where ultimately it's going to backfire in the Me Too movement. Right now, for those who are thinking people who critically analyze things, the Me Too movement has lost almost all of its credibility. Neil deGrasse Tyson now, he was recently cleared and all this other stuff. And it's kind of getting to the point where people are like, this is a joke. This isn't even serious anymore. And I think that's unfortunate because sexual assault's not a joke. If somebody really is a victim of assault, they got to get in line behind all the people that are seeking attention and seeking money and telling a story to get money because they're just mad at a man. And I think that that's unfortunate. Let's see. If she's drunk, maybe he's drunk to know that she's too drunk too. I agree. That whole idea that if you're drunk, you can't consent. I think that that's a problematic concept because that would say that if he's drunk too, then he couldn't consent either, which makes you a rapist also, which really doesn't make any sense. If you get drunk and you do something stupid while you're drunk, how about this? How about you take responsibility for your choices while you're drunk, and everybody, that makes a regrettable decision just has to live with that. Seriously. Like, I think this whole idea that if a woman's drunk, she's not responsible for her choices, but if a man's drunk, he's completely responsible for all of his choices. That doesn't even make any sense. That's like literally telling me 2 + 2 is 147, and I'm a mathematician by training, and that never adds up. So anyway, I'm about to go, guys. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Also, a reminder, I'll be in New York. If you want to come hang out with me in New York on October 27th, you can go to drboycenewyork.com. On top of that, if you want to buy my book, The New Black Power, or any of my other books, go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. I'll see you guys soon. Have a good day. Peace.